welcome to the Mindset Michelle TV show. We're so super excited for you to be joining us on yet another incredible episode with somebody that is truly an inspirational global leader. Today we have the amazing Juli Shively. Hello, Juli.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate. I'm excited to be here.
It's lovely to have you, Juli. And for those of you that aren't aware of who Juli is, she's this incredible innovation specialist, youth innovation specialist, and she's the co-founder of the Global Innovation Field Trip, the founder and CEO of Innovation World, and an ambassador to United Inventors Association. And we're so excited to have you joining us today, Juli, to be talking about, and this is such an important area, talking about innovation and youth and education. And I'm so passionate about this area too. I'm so excited to be hearing from you. But to start with, please explain, because I think people like yourself that are in these incredible global and innovation roles, people looking at you are going to be really fascinated. Well, what was your journey? How did you get there? What was it that, you studied, you did, your journey to becoming who you are and what you do today?
Well, it started about 20 years ago. I've been in the youth innovation space for about 20 years now. 18 years of that is time I spent with the Ohio Invention Convention, which is at the time a K-8 inventing program that was put on by schools all across Ohio. And then the last year and a half of my time there, I spent with the STEMI Coalition, helping them to develop and build the National Invention Convention program, which now is a program of the Henry Ford Museum of Innovation out in Dearborn, Michigan. And I decided to leave in early 2020, and I launched Innovation World, which is an online resource for innovators, inventors, entrepreneurs, and educators. And then a few months later, a colleague of mine, Jake Mendelson, and I reconnected. We had worked together at the National Invention Convention. And we realized as COVID was hitting the United States, what that meant to students all across the states that had spent part of their school year, working on a project, whether it was robotics or design or inventions. They typically would in spring show those at their school level and maybe a state level and even a national level, but everything was closing. And so we felt pretty much great remorse for that and decided to build what's now known as the Global Innovation Field Trip, or GIFT for short. And GIFT is a 24-hour online celebration of youth innovation, multi-country. The first one was held in May of 2020. And we had, by the time we got to the celebration, there were 15 countries involved. We had 81 presentations, 103 presenters at that event, and it ran the full 24 hours. And then we finished and people started saying, when's the next one? And we're like, wow, okay, we can do another one. And then fast forward now to today, and we just finished our 13th event in April. We've had somewhere around 1,450 presenters in that time, about 850 video presentations captured, and 61 countries involved. So we kind of catapulted into the international scene because of COVID and decided we really like it here and plan to stay here. So during the GIFT, students or program leaders sign up to do a 15 or a 25-minute presentation about their innovation story. And it's held over a Zoom webinar, live streamed at the same time to YouTube, and then post-event, we splice it up into individual presentations, brand it, and put it out there on our website for people to come to for years to come, to watch them and to learn from them and to teach their students from them and just to be inspired, basically. So that's kind of how we got into the global arena.
Wow, that's such an amazing journey, and thank you so much for sharing with us around GIFT and this incredible and really important work. And I'm sure that in history we'll look back at some of the incredible things like GIFT, the Global Innovation Field Trip, that have come out, and people go, well, why weren't they doing that beforehand? And of course, it was because it was born of necessity, like you were saying. the wonderful kids were creating all these great things, and there was nowhere to show them because the spring showcases weren't happening at the time. For you yourself, had you always wanted to be an educator as you were growing up, and when you were studying at college and school? How did you come to be an educator in the first place?
And I'll have to back up and correct you on that. I am not a trained educator. I'm an educator by default because I teach people how to become innovators, how to be part of the innovation process, how to inspire others. I am not a college trained educator, but it was by happenstance and because of things that happened to me. And I'm very grateful for those things that happened and things like COVID that drove me into this direction. And
so what were you doing before this direction at Ohio and in
before 18 years ago? I was actually running large call centers. And I very much liked that as well. I always enjoyed managing people. I felt like I was somebody that could help them find opportunity. But when the big layoffs in telecom happened many, many years ago, I was one of the people who was affected by a layoff. And all that did was force me to look at what else I could do, what else I wanted to do. Then I bought a drama company. It was called Drama Kids, and it was actually patterned off of something out of Australia, Helen O'Grady Drama Academies. The US name was Drama Kids International, and I bought a franchise of that. Spent about 8 years helping teach students drama and working with the teachers who did the hard work, which was teaching students to be able to express. And I actually find that inventing and innovation and all of these other kinds of programs are so similar to drama. And I mean, it requires empathy, critical thinking, understanding how to iterate or change your path and try again and recover from failure. They're all very similar. So drama, it was just my lead into finding Invention Convention, and kind of fell in love with that program and was well ingrained in it when I decided it was time to move out on my own and build something new, which was Innovation World, which is an online resource for young innovators, inventors, and entrepreneurs.
Wow! And again, I'm loving how we're unpacking from a call center to a drama school to doing this global innovation support, especially for youth. I'm just fascinated in people's life stories and how they and you use that wonderful word, I kind of fell in or accidentally became this or accidentally became that. And so much of people's lives when they do look back, it's kind of these strange twists at different points along that journey. So with this incredible and very, very interesting background, Julie, what do you think success now means to you nowadays? What does it mean to you today? For you?
To me, success equates to empowerment. And whether it's my own empowerment or the empowerment I try to help bestow on others, it's empowerment. I mean, to me, that means becoming stronger, more confident, more capable. And it's really kind of the gift that can keep on giving. So when we choose to help empower others, we choose to help their capacity, to help them grow stronger, more confident, and more enabled or capable to do what they need to do. And it's kind of one of those things that I think people who feel empowered often turn around and help empower other people. And that's what I aim to do. I mean, I don't have a college education. I am not an educator by degree, but that doesn't stop me from helping teach people, young people all around the world, and to help empower those same people to go out and do what they want to do and find solutions and look for interesting problems, find solutions, decide that they're going to test out some of those solutions and fail and fall down trying to do it, but get back up and persevere and continue iterating until they have something that's workable. To me, the best thing that we could do out there for our world is to enable or to empower all of the young people. If we started at, as early as we teach children, preschool or even before, and gave them the skill sets to do that, to find problems, to reason solutions, to test those, and to allow them to fail. In fact, encourage them to fail so that they know that it's not a bad word, and teach them to continue and to persevere. Can you imagine what kind of world we'd be in then if every single person was helping to solve problems? When today, they don't all have the capacity, but the ones that do are doing some phenomenal things out there.
So I think that that's an amazing and a really incredible definition of success. And to you, I can really hear how passionate you are about empowering yourself and empowering others. And I'm really celebrate again that mindset around, it's not about the label about what you've studied or the label of what you've done previously. It's really being passionate and following. I hear so much about how you followed your passion, helping people, empowering people, and especially empowering children to find that way to be an inventor, to be innovative, to share and connect with others, and to empower their passion and their journey. I think that this is a wonderful way to segue into, so what suggestions do you have for people so that they can create, in a sense, that same mindset, that positive mindset, that empowered mindset? What sort of suggestions and tips do you have for people for how they can do it for themselves?
I'm sure there's a lot of ways, but the ways that I think of that to me are some of those higher points will be education is key. And I don't necessarily mean formal education, but formal education is good as well, and it's important, and some people thrive in that area. I'm also referring to any kind of education, whether it's public education, private, higher education. The education a student learns from just enrolling in a robotics class, or a ballet class, or an art class, or a design class, or any other class that they can be a part of, or just trying hands-on things, making mistakes and learning how to continue on and not let those mistakes pull you down. So I think education is key, and it can be self-education, or it can be, you can go acquire education outside of your home as well. And then I think other people influence.
So just before you go on to your next tip, and I love again the passion here of these fabulous suggestions. So formal or informal education, and sometimes we've talked about it as being like a curious mind or continual learning. And I think that one of the things that we're very lucky with here in Australia, and I'm not so sure about other countries, but we have a lot of adult and continuing education here, and we have a lot of investment in STEM and innovations fields as well. So if you want to go and do an online course, if you want to go and do a community course in this or that, you can very easily and reasonably cheaply either do an in-person or do an online course. Even Stanford and other major universities now have a lot of introductory courses that you can do online for free into quite a wide range, whether it's on Coursera or some of the other big learning platforms. You can actually go in and investigate different areas. If you hear about something and go, oh, they keep talking about emotional intelligence, I wonder what that is. And you can go and do these courses for free, and kind of like you were so wonderfully presenting around, you can go and check things out that perhaps, I don't want to show my age too much, but when I was growing up, most of my learning was actually in an encyclopedia in a book. And we would go to a library and, have to look up other books to find out things. So the access to education is what I'm talking about, whether it's formal or informal or in whatever way. Our access was severely limited. And the beauty now is, as an adult or as a child, people can actually access information that we, in years gone by, didn't even have the access to. So the world, I think, has really exploded. And I so wholeheartedly agree with your point about people pursuing formal or informal, some form of education, because you can now, learn things that we would never be able to have the access even to before.
Totally agree. Absolutely.
That's
I think
wonderful.
another thing that's really helpful is other people. I mean, other people can greatly influence how empowered you are, and you can greatly influence how empowered they are. I think it's kind of like empowerment is the gift that keeps on giving if you want it to. So, you know, surrounding yourself with people that you can learn from, and that people you can fail in front of, and that are there to help cheer you on when you're ready to stand back up and try it again. I think it's really important to surround yourself by those kinds of people, and people that are positive, and they're your, you know, there's somebody who has your back. Keeping yourself away from the negativity is just it's just as important, I think, as keeping yourself around the positive people.
And I loved earlier when you mentioned how you co-founded Innovation World. How did you know? Because people will be hearing about surrounding myself, and they may sometimes feel like, you know, oh, I'm looking, but I don't quite know who to go or who to kind of, not necessarily put all your eggs in one basket, but who to explore something with. How did you know when you were working with your co-founder of Innovation World that that person was somebody that, yes, that this is somebody that I think is positive and has a good work ethic and we can create something here? What were some of the habits or ways of looking at it that supported you in going through that process?
And actually the co-founder is with the Global Innovation Field Trip, a gentleman named Jake Mendelson, who runs a program called eventfuture.global. I worked with him at the National Invention Convention for a while, and so we reconnected, and we just realized that there was this synergy there. We felt the same way about innovation. It wasn't important what the student innovated in the end. It doesn't matter if they have a product that they're going to take to market. It doesn't matter if they have the next best song or the best social program out there to feed the homeless. It matters that they've learned the process to get to that point, no matter what the outcome is. And I think it's an important thing to agree on when you're trying to focus your energy on teaching young innovators. Had he been somebody who was interested in only that final product, it wouldn't have worked. So I think that was the first thing, that we have the same philosophy about why we were in this for students. And then we always try to put the student first, always. And, you know, the Global Innovation Field Trip is a great platform that we created for young innovators, in that it allows it's accessible, and it allows students from all over the world to participate who might not have otherwise been able to, because it costs a lot of money to travel. And, you know, we don't charge anything for this. Students can come in as long as they have a Wi-Fi connection. And even if they don't, we allow them to send video, and then we'll put their presentations up there for them if they can't be there live. But we love to have them come on live anytime we can. So there's several other programs that we've created that are student-facing programs. One is the Young Collaborators podcast, where we have students who decide who they want to podcast with. They write to the person. We help them if they need it. We don't if they don't need it. And then we teach them how they need to set up the Zoom calls. And then all we're doing is, in the background, we're running the Zoom and we're editing their podcast and putting it up there. And we're totally allowing them to be empowered to make all the rest of the decisions. And I think it's important. The younger you can teach kids that they have the capability of doing that, the more likely they're going to just keep doing it. So I probably deviated a little bit from your question about co-founder, but it's just started getting me off. One of the things that you were asking about, you know, people, how do you find other people that help influence you? Innovation World started the Innovation World Alliance, and it is simply a coalition of organizations, mostly US based, just because of time zone issues. But we do have a person from Japan, a person from Australia that comes into some of the meetings. And it's really just a big group of like-minded people. They have little organizations like mine that all are in the youth innovation market somewhere, whether they're selling design kits, or whether they're a university that caters to youth innovation programs, or whether they're an invention program. So it's a group that once a month we get together and we just share our resources, we share great stories that happen.
Before you go too much into what that group does, sorry, I'll just kind of, because the show, I could hear so much more, because each area that you're talking about has so much depth in it. But I really want to kind of come back to the key point here, which was about surrounding yourself with others. And so you've given a wonderful example there about the Innovation World Alliance. So if people watching are interested in joining a group, because they're inventors or involved in innovation, then that's a fabulous group. And then when I was asking the question around how did you kind of work through the process of looking at who to lean into and build the co-founder for the Global Innovation Field Trip with, what you were sharing there was really interesting as well around, you reconnected with the person, you saw that there was great synergy, but the part that I really wanted to hone in on was you talked about the philosophy. You had similar philosophies, and I loved how your philosophy and your values and beliefs is another way that I've heard that described, was about, it didn't matter about the outcome. It mattered about the students learning how the process worked, that they went through the process, because I think that that's such a key point. And sorry, that's why I wanted to stop you, because that ability to learn and fail and learn and succeed and learn and fail and learn and succeed is key, the key message I wanted to pull out of what you were saying there, because that process and learning that it's okay to win, it's okay to lose, is something that I think as adults people become a lot more fearful about. There's not as much support if you fail as if you succeed. Everybody sort of celebrates. So I really want to come back to that. What is your philosophy or your values and beliefs then around how do you, when you're doing something and it may not necessarily be going as well, keep yourself focused on, it's the process that I'm learning, not whether I win or lose at the end of that process? How do you keep coming back to that for yourself?
I think that's when I reach out to my network, and when I just talk to them and say, here's what I'm coming up against. And there's always another idea. There's always another way, something I haven't thought about. And sometimes I'm sitting in front of them talking about it, and I think of something else myself too. But I think it's not being afraid to ask for help and to ask others. I don't think it's happened a lot because I engage others as much as I can along the way. Even the field trip that we do once a quarter, we have 30 volunteer hosts from 15 different countries on every one of them. So nothing is done by just me or just by Jake. It's like this group of people that want to all do this, and I'm just kind of organizing it, and they're all jumping in. And the same way with an alliance, I'm not suggesting people even join our alliance, but go out and make your own. Go out and find other people that like those same things, that have that same philosophy you have, and just commit to meet now and then. I mean, that's how you surround yourself by people that are going to help you. You find somebody that you kind of connect well and say, hey, let's meet now and then talk about it. You guys find somebody else and you have them join the meeting. It's not hard to do, but it, like anything else, just takes a little effort. It pays off in the end, for sure.
I love how you've expanded what I was saying about the alliance. It's even more wonderful because you brought in so beautifully there about, well, don't just join the alliance that Michele was saying. Go join our alliance. Go set your own one up in whatever area that you're passionate about that matches your philosophy and your values. I really love that, and also how you tied it back to when going through that process. Starting something and failing, succeeding, whatever that might be, having that network of people around you that are also on that journey, learning their own processes around failing, succeeding, and so beautifully how you put it. Well, I don't think you're just the organizer and, you know, people are coming on these field trips, etc. I think that you're also in many ways like the glue, because that passion helps others, and others would have that passion as well. So you're not the only part of the glue, but you're one part of that glue that holds these beautiful ideas together. And then the execution, that process part, is what you help to show other people how they can go about doing it. And such beautiful work. So really, really wonderful. If people are looking to create that network or create an alliance or join alliances or networks, but they may sometimes also feel in some ways, you know, I don't have the education or I don't have the experience. You know, these are people that know so much more than me in this area or that area. What suggestions would you give for them about perhaps overcoming their own kind of fear or lack of confidence around it?
Well, just because you're thinking of doing it, you're already capable of doing it. You know, you don't have to have anyone's permission. You know, I'm an adult. I'm a 63-year-old woman. I need nobody's permission to try. I need nobody's permission to fail. And I really don't need anyone's permission to get up and try it again. I like to engage the help of others. But if you don't feel like you can do it by yourself, find somebody else who feels like they can do it with you. You know, there is a big difference between Jake and I. Jake is a retired engineer. That's a very different kind of person than me. So, but we work off each other very well. We both have our skill sets, and there's things he does that I would never want to do or have to do. And there's things that I'm sure that I do that he's happy that I'm doing them, so he doesn't have to. So if you don't feel like you can do it by yourself, find somebody else who will do it with you. You can always call people like myself and say, I know that you built this alliance. Tell me how you did it. Can you come to my meetings for a while to help support it? Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole idea behind helping to empower other people. And if you empower them, they're going to feel successful. And I just want to say, I like to say a lot that I can do really good things, but together we can do magnificent things. So don't try to do everything alone. Find somebody to do it with you and be magnificent.
I love, love, love that sentiment. You know, I can do good things, but together we can do magnificent things. What an absolutely beautiful sentiment, Julie. And if people were wanting to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Probably the easiest, because I have an odd spelling name, is just to go to the website and go to info@innovationworld.org. I'm the one who receives the mail, so it would be easy to get to me.
Wonderful.
Or you can also connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that LinkedIn, and just again, so people do notice if they haven't read it on screen, it's JULI. But Innovation World and Global, let's quickly make sure I say it, a Global Innovation Field Trip. I'm sure if you look up these different keywords, you'll also find Julie from that. And Julie,
Yep.
One of the wonderful things I love to ask people is, if you were to give some advice to your younger self, what might that advice be?
Well, that's pretty easy. I would say get involved in everything that you can, everything that's available to you. I'm also from that encyclopedia era. If your family was fortunate to have been able to afford the big volumes of encyclopedias, otherwise everything was done in the library. And there was very little out there to do. I could choose from softball, and if you don't know softball, it's a form of baseball that was designed, I think, for girls at one point, ballet, and that was really it. There was nothing. And now there's everything. There's everything out there, and not everything costs money. A lot of things you can learn on YouTube without ever having to leave your home. So I would just say for kids today, if I were a young kid today, it would be do everything you can, engage in everything you can, volunteer, create programs, even if they're little lemonade stand programs. Everything will help you become that empowered person. And that's what you need to do.
Wonderful. Such fabulous, fabulous advice to your younger self and to other younger people watching. It's been such an absolute honor and such a pleasure. And I myself know I'm so passionate that over these last few years, with technology being the way it is, that you know, people like ourselves that have grown up with encyclopedias and libraries have now been able to embrace technology and be in this global space in a much bigger way. And role model, I'm always aware how much we're role modeling for others, that anybody, you know, can be empowered and do this. And that was a wonderful, you know, sentiment you're sharing there about just get involved, just start anywhere. And it's all available to you now through YouTube or through wherever. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, Julie.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And to everybody watching, I hope you've got as much as I did and have enjoyed this journey with Julie today. But for now, from my heart to your heart, be great, be fabulous, and be you.